Hi everybody, Stephanie with the Machine Gun Nest here with our newest legal update. Today I want to talk about something really important and also really disappointing at the same time. So, an awesome congressman named Andrew Clyde from the 9th District of Georgia, and along with Ben Klein, introduced two really great bills. One was called the Short Act, and the Short Act would remove short-barreled rifles and short-barreled shotguns from the NFA. And the other one, the one I really want to talk about today, is called the Constitutional Hearing Protection Act. This is H.R. 404 in Congress. So let me give you a little bit of background to this. This bill deals particularly with removing suppressors from the National Firearms Act of 1934. The National Firearms Act of 1934 basically puts a $200 tax stamp and additional heavy regulations on items like suppressors, short-barreled rifles, short-barreled shotguns, fully automatic firearms like machine guns, and something called AOWs. So what this is doing is putting a really hefty tax on something that simply exists to make firearms safer. So suppressors typically from the movies, from Hollywood, have this perception that they're these tools of the assassin, but that's simply not true. In fact, despite our vastly different cultures between the United States of America and Europe, Europe actually views suppressors as a courtesy device. It's something that's kind of commonly owned in Europe amongst hunters and sport shooters because it's a courtesy, not only to your neighbors that you're shooting by, but for yourself too, to reduce the decibel level from being damaging to the ears to less damaging. It actually doesn't even make it silent. So this was a really short and sweet, simple bill introduced, and all it did was remove suppressors from the NFA, removing that $200 tax, removing that $200 toll that you have to pay simply to make a firearm more safe. So this was introduced first in the Ways and Means Committee. So the Ways and Means Committee in the House of Representatives is one of the most powerful committees in all of Congress. The reason is that it deals with things like revenue, taxes, all of those kinds of things are determined in the Ways and Means Committee. So when a bill is introduced, it first goes to committee, and then it's voted on, and then it makes it out of committee, where it then goes to a vote in the entire House. And that's where everybody can give their input. They can propose amendments, and they can work on that bill from there. But the profoundly disappointing thing about H.R. 404 is that it did not make it out of committee. Let me tell you why this is disappointing. There are 43 members right now in the Ways and Means Committee. 25 of those members are Republicans and 18 are Democrats. I'm not at all suggesting that everybody constantly has to vote along party lines, but I'm very curious as to who had a problem with such a simple bill that honestly should be bipartisan, because if you care at all about making firearms more safe, as the Democrats pretend to care about, this is something that should have at least made it through committee. And I know that all they needed was a simple majority. In the Ways and Means Committee, you just need 51% to vote to pass it through, to make it out of committee, to go to the House floor. And it did not make it through. So that means out of 25 of those Republicans who we should be able to count on to support at least basic gun rights bills, that we had some people have a problem with this. I can't help but think this is just a ridiculous political play card that they're using. I can't even fathom the reasonings that they put forth why they couldn't at least get this out of committee. And so we have a job to do. This could still make it out of committee, but it's going to take a lot of work on our part, and we truly need to call our representatives. I do not know who voted against this, but at the end of the day, that means every single one of those Republicans and every single one of those Democrats, we need to call them and ask, what is your beef with hearing protection? Even Europe, who views firearms in a completely different light than we do here, they do not have the Second Amendment. We do not share that culture. even they view suppressors more favorably than we do here. So the only thing that reasonably leaves is that this is just coming from a place of wanting to disarm. This is nothing but coming from a place of sheer ignorance and a malicious desire to make something that should be accessible inaccessible. Let me read to you something. Let me read you something from here. Representative Andrew Clyde said, burdensome regulations and unconstitutional taxes should not stand in the way of protecting American gun owners' hearing. As an ardent defender of our Second Amendment liberties, I'm working to remove all infringements on our God-given right to keep and bear arms. By deregulating suppressors, eliminating the costly $200 tax stamp on these firearms, and avoiding additional taxation, my legislation offers a constitutional solution to increase Americans' access to these safety devices. So I'm going to read to you a number. It's going to scroll across the bottom of the screen because guess what? We all have a job to do. You can call the Ways and Means Committee directly. The number is 202-225-3625. Please get on the phone and tell them to pass HR 404. I'll keep you updated.